Manchester United 3, Burnley 2, a first win of the season for Manchester United. I'm joined by Tom Cooney and Scotty. Lads, we sat here having beat a championship team, no offence, with essentially one of the last kicks of the game, and yet somehow it feels as though some of the pressure has been lifted on Amorim. Would you agree, Scotty? How do you feel after that?
Yeah, relieved on myself. Never mind what Amorim's going through, to be honest. But I think we made a lot harder work than we needed to. I think with the complacent 10 minutes that they scored. But yeah, it was 3 points that we massively deserved, and it's typical United fashion in it to win it in with about a 97th minute penalty, which was more relief than elation. But if you look at the context of the whole game, thoroughly deserved. I think a bit like detractors from Manchester United will paint the picture like it was a scrappy win against a newly promoted team. That isn't the story at all. I think if you look at the statistics of how many shots we had on target and shots we should have put away really, and another day when we were getting the rub of the green, we would have done. There was the opportunities for for Ahmad that he should have bagged. You know what I mean? Or if Sesko started earlier. So people will look at the minor negatives, and yes, it was a team that should have been promoted, but 3 points. And we're moving in the right direction. Massively.
Tom, I mean, obviously we'll get into some of the details. How are you feeling after that game in terms of relief, in terms of, getting the ball rolling on the season generally?
It's the bigger picture, isn't it? It's just it's the outside noise. You want to really quieten some of that down, and that's because the job's hard enough. There's so much pressure, and you can tell the manager's feeling it. I would have worried if we hadn't scored that penalty, just for the optics of the situation. But it was a thoroughly deserved win. But sitting there at half-time, 1-0 with all them chances missed, you almost knew it was coming, that we were going to find a way to make it difficult for ourselves. And then there's the worry, isn't there, in the last 10 minutes that maybe you don't find the goal, and where does that leave you? Which is not a great situation to be in, but as you say, it's nice that we can sit here now with 3 points, because it was fully deserved. It's actually a strong performance when you break it down.
It completely changes the way that you can look at the game, doesn't it? Because obviously, again, like I said, a last-minute penalty against a newly promoted side at home is hardly the way and the most convincing way you can win a game, and the way you want to win a game, but it allows you to focus on the positives. And I think there were a lot of positives today, and I want to go through some of them quickly, and then we'll get into some of the comments. So do get your chats in, your super chats, whatever you want to do. I'll get to both of them. 26 shots again today, and that's followed on from at home the 22 shots that we had against Arsenal. And then I think it was only 10 in total against Fulham. We're a little bit lower there. But you're looking at, over 50 shots in 3 games. United limited them to just 6 shots in total. Burnley United had 62% possession. All things, again, you would expect against a home team, against a newly promoted team. But this wasn't a, United having to sort of, we dropped the performance like we did against Grimsby. It wasn't a repeat of that game, which I think a lot of people were worried that it would be. And if we did see that, if we saw United could have won this game 3-2, and you go, that was the same. That these players have given up on the manager, and they happen to win because we've got a better squad. I didn't see a team today that had given up on their manager, personally. I mean, only time will tell. But that was a cohesive, coherent performance that created chances consistently throughout the whole game. Burnley had a couple of spells here and there where they looked decent, and obviously, they managed to score 2 goals, which we will get into specifically, because it was almost preposterous the way that a couple of the second one in particular were just sort of allowing them to score goals. But I think there was a lot of positives to the game today. We've got a few super chats already. I'll get into some of these. Benjamin Toppin said, I almost forgot what it's like to win it in the Prem. It's not been many, has it? Is that Ruben Amorim's 8th or 9th?
9th, is it?
9th win in the league in what, 9 months?
A long time.
I know 3 of those there was no games, but it's like
one a month.
Yeah, it's like pocket money. Here's your win for the month. Now clear off you. Leave me alone. Tiemann says, super duper Thomas Frank, greatest manager ever. 6 points. Amorim, worst manager ever. 4 points. I mean, not to sort of... what Tottenham do doesn't affect us, but it is worth pointing out that they got absolutely dominated by Bournemouth. It was only 1-0, but again, 19 shots to Bournemouth, only 5 to Tottenham. So, and I think Thomas Frank is a good manager and will improve Tottenham. But obviously, he's been used a lot as a yardstick.
He's the stick that people are beating Manchester United with. Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, it is. Heaven Soul says, watch the game, and the watching watch the game and watching this post-match, 36,000 feet up flying over Turkey. Bloody hell, that's live sport on a plane feels
great,
almost too far in the future for my liking, actually. So chuffed that we showed some fortitude and started the game on fire. Mazraoui, wonderful cameo, intelligent player, says Sub N. We'll talk about injuries and players returning from injury in a minute, because I think that was one of the sort of big storylines of the game. T Mills says, Joe, we need a goalkeeper before the window shuts, or we're going to struggle this season. Up the Paddock, Liverpool played shy and still got 3 points. Kazmofo says, genuinely don't understand this team. Grateful for this win, but still concerning, unfortunately. Arsenal game felt like a facade, not convinced just yet. Hands up for the Panthers says, Tierman is a Spurs fan, apparently. Although I'm not sure, based on that, it seemed like it was pretty sarcastic. Ant L says, excellent performance, bar the defensive errors. We look so dangerous all game. Time is coming where we will batter someone, I'm certain of it. There's a lot of people in the comments, obviously, and I'll get to some of those in just a second. Scotty, there's like I said, a story of injury. Cunha, and we're not 100% that Mount went off injured. I think Laurie Whitwell kind of suggested that he might have been, but we're not sure. Xerxes and Mazraoui, however, were still sort of making their way back from injury. I know Xerxes played midweek, but he's not had a pre-season. Talk to me about how the squad has shifted during this game in terms of losing Cunha and having those players available.
Yeah, I mean, it was evident in the pace that we were playing with, really. I felt Cunha and Mount were probably our best players in the first half. Sort of the pace that they were doing, Cunha very direct up front, and Mount was causing a lot of problems with Kyle Walker, almost getting a penalty ourselves in the first half because of that. And then when Xerxes came on, the tempo, I mean, we all know what type of football he plays, and he sort of slows it all down. But I think with that, it enabled Burnley to get more in terms of foothold into the game, which didn't help. I'm not too sure if it was a right substitution, although I'm not too sure who we could have brought on with the Sesko fitness at that time. Mazraoui came on and a nice cameo, and he's such a calm, he's a wonderful footballer to watch. He's really composed on the ball. So with that in mind, but the first half in particular, with them two on the pitch, it looked like an extension or a continuation of the Arsenal performance. You could see patterns of play and what was happening there, and compared to the Fulham or Grimsby games, which were outliers in the way that we want to play, hopefully. So there's a hell of a lot of performances today that I was proud of.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, there's obviously a bit of a debate in the chat. I do think predominantly people are relatively positive after that. Obviously, relieved to get the win in the manner that they did. Relieved that United were the better team, and I think there's no doubt that they were the better team. What's stopping us, though, Tom, from being a team that wins that game 3-0 today, or 4-1 or 5-1? Because the chances were there. We saw Xerxes miss that sort of crazy chance where he just almost doesn't, he barely even shoots in the end, even though he can just sweep the ball in the net. We saw Ahmad miss that one. Sesko had a couple of headers that were missed. There was other chances that I'm sort of forgetting as well. How do we go from 3-2 last-minute penalty to 4-0?
It's got to be confidence, hasn't it? Because it's so up and down at the minute. I mean, we're mainly down, and we never really build on a win and put a little run together. And I don't think it's lazy. I mean, we look at some of the mistake there from Casemiro. I'm watching the game and you see how hard they're fighting for things. I'm not thinking complacent, lazy. I think they know they're in a game, but it must just be something within that squad at the minute that there isn't a winning mentality. There is this anxiety that even in a game like that we're going to concede here. We always do. It feels like they, all it took was Burnley to just step into our half a little bit, keep the ball a little, and you felt like a goal was coming, and that shouldn't be the case. You look at teams like how Arsenal will back themselves for 45 minutes to sit in and keep out the best teams in the league. Just keep coming at us. I think with United at the minute, and that's not helped by the chances spurned. Like if you, not only is it, do you think we'd be a bit stronger defensively when we start to feel like we're able to look after games, but you'd think we'd start taking chances as well and making it easy for ourselves in general. You go 2-0 up in that game after 30 minutes, as you should, and that's not me being wishful. We really should have been.
No, we should have done.
And then the whole game is different.
Well, you mentioned, didn't you? At no point have United actually been 2 goals up in this game, and we should have been. We scored the goal on the 27th minute. Then we had 2 massive chances in the stoppage time at the end of the first half. One of them goes in, and I think it is just game over. Yeah. It's notoriously a great time to score. Obviously, you feel like you're going in at half time, a goal in it, and realistically, that just changes. Instead, we missed both of those. and then Burnley get the next goal 10 minutes after half time. And then there was this weird kind of, we got one back and then they got one back, but it was disallowed, like 3 goals in 3 minutes. And, you know, then they get their second one after that. You said mistake from Casemiro, partial mistake from Bayindir. I think he could have done better with it. He sort of flaps it onto his own legs and it spills back out and gets put in. And then you're in a position again where, like you said, all of that confidence or lack of confidence, the anxiety from the manager, from the stadium, from the players, and then the wave of opposition where they think, you know what, we can do this. One thing I will say, between the 66th minute when Burnley got their equaliser and the 97th when we scored the winner, there was never a point where I thought, Burnley looked like winning this. Yeah. We've capitulated. Yeah. We've panicked. We've sat back. We've gone scrappy. We didn't do that. Yeah. And I'm really glad we didn't, because that's the thing in the second half against Fulham where I thought, what are we doing here? We can avoid this. And maybe it's just the sheer quality or lack thereof that Burnley have. But we actually, even after the second goal for Burnley, we still look the better team. And that's what gives me a little bit of hope and a bit of a sort of confidence that we can repeat this going forward. You should have, like, if we compare to last year, I don't know if you've got the stats there. What did we average for shots per game last year at Old Trafford or throughout the season? When we went to 1-1 and they equalised, Manchester United last season would not have scored another goal within 2 minutes of them scoring. We just wouldn't have that intent. It would have taken us ages to sort of labour our way back into the game. And it's like, no, just quick, fire, we're going down there. And it felt like there was a belief that we were going to win the game and we were pushing towards the end. Now, what's important about that? Today was more than about 3 points. It was the reaction from Wednesday night and what is this team capable of and what do these players want to do under this manager and where are we going? Because it could have gone the other way. If they come out and put a shit performance out today, that wouldn't have been surprising. It would have been to all of us like, okay, well, he's going clearly. But it wasn't that, and it was more like throwing down the gauntlet. We can do something here. For me, it's a really positive performance. It's just been sullied by them 10 minutes and stupid goals really to concede, because anyone who focuses on that from the performance today is just deluded. I think if you do look at it in isolation in any game, you know, it's hard because of everything that's going on around United at the moment and has been for the past 6 months or whatever. You can maybe concede a couple of goals soft sometimes. You fall asleep, you make a mistake. Yeah. But at home, make sure you score enough to win the game. And we have scored 3 today. I was a bit worried, you know, obviously we weren't going to win the game, but that's 3 goals in any game will give you an opportunity, and hopefully it's just that managing the game in that middle period. We just seem to lose control when we really shouldn't. You feel like we could be doing so much better here. We don't need to be, rushing because we were ahead, weren't we? Yeah. Is that leadership then in the middle though? Why can't you just say, we're just going to knock it around? We're winning the game. We don't need to do anything more. I think we did think that, and we did try to do that, and then Casemiro overhit one, and then we go back to the ball is in the realm of the goalkeeper again, and we're at the whims of a goalkeeper that's massively out of confidence and maybe probably just ain't good enough. So we're trying to pass it around. Casemiro plays it out for a throw in, and then it's like, right, now the whole game clicks into, we've got a chance here. Long ball in, they win the knock-on, which again is a mistake from United. Then it's back into, like I said, goalkeeper can make a mistake, and he kind of does, and then it's 2-2. I do think the intention was correct. I think just the execution, and then we sort of allowed them to be in the world of, we can exploit the keeper again, and everything starts building, and we get scared and they get confident. Just to your point about last season, according to PremierLeague.com, Manchester United had 350 shots last season in the Premier League, which averages out at 9.2 shots per game, which is obviously not great. So far this season, like we said before, United got 26 shots today, 22 against Arsenal, and 10 against Tottenham. So let me just do the quick maths on that. Not against Tottenham, against Fulham. 56, 58. Yeah. And then we need to divide that bad boy by 3 equals 19.3. So we're adding 10 double. Double the shots. So I mean, Laura, you should be like Laura Badbridge and throw enough shit at a wall, something's going to stick. Yeah. If Burnley haven't got clinical strikers, but they got the rubber degree and they had 3 shots on target and scored 2 of them, they're not better players than United. I just think once Cooney when he gets back fit, I think might score. I think and I don't expect us to, because away games and home games, if we can average anywhere in the region of 19 shots per game, we will win far more games than we lose. United will have a far better season than that. I know it's not just shoot from the foot, from the halfway line then, but goals.
It's the quality of the players that are taking the shots.
It's the quality of the players that are taking the shot. It's the fact that you're manufacturing the position and the chance to get 20 shots a game off. Like, Cristiano Ronaldo isn't the greatest finisher of all time. He's the greatest shot taker of all time. I think he averages like 6 shots per game across his whole career, which is amazing. That's, he's obviously a great finisher as well, but he's not the most clinical player that's ever lived. He's the best at taking shots that's ever lived. So, if United can adopt that model where you're taking 19 shots a game or thereabouts, it's going to be a lot more 3-goal returns than 0 and 1s that we've been seeing so far.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask a question, because obviously the system query came up this week following Grimsby and stuff. Your basis on today's performance as a whole for formation and strategy, did you feel like worked? Was there any sort of flaws with the goals?
Not really. I mean, no one talks about the system, do you? When they win. I mean, you look at what went wrong in the game and think, was there something wrong with the way we approached it? But it does feel like just losing control of the game, maybe a bit of confidence, just maybe Burnley being overconfident because they can sense our anxiety when the game's way closer than it should be at that point. And a couple of things go for them, as you mentioned. Maybe we could do a little bit better with the goalkeeper for the second goal. I don't know, but either way, it's a mistake. Outside of that, I really didn't feel like we gave Burnley much today. I didn't think they posed much threat, and we looked really dangerous. So, what does that say about a system? That's positive, and it means we're creating chances.
Yeah. I completely agree. I think you watch any, I'm sure everyone here watches not just Man United, and although maybe some people do, but every game you watch, both teams have chances. It's not, I think Tottenham barely put 2 passes together today by the looks of it, but when you watch other teams, the opposition have moments, or they'll square it in the box and they'll blaze one over the bar, and then you'll go on to win 3-0. That is what a dominant performance looks like. I know that the scoreline wasn't dominant, but it's not literally just one team has a 100% possession, the other doesn't get a kick, and then the game ends. That isn't, most games aren't like that. You watch other teams win comfortably, top teams, whoever. It looks like that game looked today. I'm really happy with how that game went.
It's purely about being clinical.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to. Make repeat chances or repeat situations that give you shots and chances as many times as you can, and limit them as many times as you can, and you'll probably win. And United today made way more chances, put ourselves in positions to score goals far more than they did, created far more XG, far more shots, everything, and we won because of that. And even then, we got a bit unlucky. The fact that they got 2 goals from 3 shots on target is a bit lucky. But United won the game because they deserved to. And if we, like I said, play like that every week, or outplay their opposition the way that they did this game every week, we'll win far more games than we lose this season. So, yeah, this, after the Grimsby performance in particular, was massively needed for me, I think, personally. Yeah. A couple of super chats. I'll name this podcast later. Said, we needed this, man. We play with so much nerves, and to actually get a result today can only be a good thing. Up the paddock, thank you very much. Alex Buckingham says, bought Scotty's book, even though I'm a Yorkshireman up the north. Oh, cheers. If you do want to buy Scotty's book, can we get a link to that in the description, please?
That's very kind of you.
Mancunians. That's the full. Is there a subtitle?
Yeah. Where do we start? Where do I begin?
There you go.
From
we'll get a link
Chemical
to that
Brothers song.
If anyone wants to buy Scotty's book, the link will be in the description. I've heard nothing but good things. Actually, I'll read that.
Have you not read it? No.
No, I haven't read it.
Do you want a copy of it?
I'll buy a copy of it.
Are you sure?
No.
Oh, I'll sort your copy out.
Thank you. No, I'll buy one. I will buy one. Away says, finally, Yoro gets his first win. Did anyone see this? That apparently Yoro hasn't played a league game at Old Trafford that's ended in a win, or hasn't started.
It's like the Gareth Bale stat, isn't it?
Yeah, where was it? 22. His first 22 games without a win in the league, or something like that. Is that true?
That's mad.
That against Premier League teams. Thank you, Harvey. Right. Because apparently the only teams we have beaten are now relegated. They were Premier League teams. I hate this.
That's not.
That's just a lie, isn't it? Yeah. Against current Premier League teams. Yeah. So what? They were Premier League when we played against them. Hate stuff like that.
It's a desperate stat.
It's such a desperate stat. We're bad enough. The real stats are damning enough that we don't need stuff like that. Matthew Williams says, I love Kobe, but him for Mount was a bad sub. Mount pressing with Bruno behind works well, and without Mount, we lost control and the press. Josh Mal says, solid 3 points and a healthy performance. And Bad Wolf says, guys, it was relegation favourite Burnley at home, and we beat them. Yeah. And we beat the living 3-2 out of them. So I'm very happy with that. Scotty, absolute pleasure. Yeah, man. Everything feels better when we win, doesn't it? So and we've got the full rest of the week. We can do some hate watching with Arsenal, Liverpool later. Hopefully they both lose. It'd be fantastic. Tom, as always, absolutely brilliant having you on. Thank you for joining us at home. We'll hear from Andy Tate a little bit later on. If you haven't done so already, please hit subscribe to the channel. First win of the season for Man United. Just maybe the biggest win of Ruben Amorim's career, or certainly Manchester United career. 3-2, good performance. International break coming up. Feet up on the sun lounger. We can just enjoy it now. Sort of. I mean, the manager's still 2 loss away from being sacked. But right now...
City next, isn't it?
Yeah. Is it Enjoy the break.
City next. Enjoy the break. We'll see you in a bit.